Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Clinic Loop podcast, brought to you by Valor Promotions, your AI growth partner for healthcare and home service businesses. Today, I have a very special guest. His work is actively rewriting the rules of access to healthcare in South Florida. Won't you please welcome Jacobo Avendano of Avendano Health Medical Wellness and Labs. Good morning, and please tell us a little about your story and your practice.
Good morning, Mike. Thank you for having me on your show. And
Absolutely.
I'd like to start with talking about Avendano Health Medical Wellness and Lab. This was a business that I had in mind. Over time, I did want to get into the medical entrepreneurship industry in that space. And originally, I was in medical school, so that is something that I've always wanted. But then I realized that it might be better for me to be in the business side of things. And as time has passed, we've been able to grow the business and been able to actually help others out in a different way that I originally intended.
Absolutely. And obviously, you went to medical school with a clear destination, but what exactly happened on the journey that made you kind of think the clinic is the answer and not the white coat per se?
So when I was in medical school, I kind of had a shock with reality opposed to the idealized version of what I thought it would be like. And then I noticed that a lot of times there is a sense of being overly cold, more of like a overly sterile approach to the way that we treat humans. And that's something that I wanted to change directly. And I thought that it would be best to do this via business since at the end of the day, money talks.
Walk me through that first patient who kind of walked into Avendano Health. What did that initial interaction teach you about what you're actually building?
So when it comes to that, I've had an extensive background in sales and customer service before as well. So when it came to actually handling the customers, that's something that I already knew. So I just implemented my past experience and from telemarketing to actually use it in real life. And I noticed that it's directly translating over when it comes to skills. And that's something I like to actually make others feel very welcome and in a warm environment. So that's something I could connect directly with the medical side.
Absolutely. You're a personable person, so I see that.
Thank you.
Well, you're operating across walk-in, mobile, direct to consumer simultaneously. Most clinic owners can barely handle one channel, but what's the operational principle that keeps you kind of away from the almost chaos?
Of course. So when it comes to that, we like to implement very strong systems and automate what is possible in the medical realm, make sure that HIPAA is being followed, but make sure that we take out any sort of frictions, any bottlenecks, so that we can continue to grow and expand without having to worry about the traditional obstacles that are faced in the medical industry. For example, at our lab, we actually have our results come within 24 to 48 hours. I know sometimes other facilities struggle with getting results, sometimes not even being able to get them and then having to chase them down.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a smooth process, 24 to 48 hours. And this new model, can you talk about that a little bit and how you're kind of transforming the area?
Yes, of course. What I've noticed from 2005 to 2026, there's a big change in healthcare that consumers are now more comfortable with paying out of pocket for the health and making sure that they're actually optimized opposed to the traditional insurance route. And that is through multiple reasons, with the economy being a little bit shaky, with insurance premiums rising and deductibles rising. Sometimes it's just more affordable. And specifically at Avendano Health, we take pride in offering very affordable and very high quality lab work. And it's just at a percent that is completely different from bigger competitors that are nationwide.
Yes, and you actually have a good website that shows that. I mean, there are noticeable rate differences for, the people that are coming in. So I definitely recommend you, if you're in South Florida, take a look at Avendano Health for that reason. There's a lot of options that it's not just the insurance sector the only way. So good. Let's see. Where do you think most healthcare operators get the technology conversation wrong as far as solving the problems in their healthcare center? Are they building solutions first? Are they actually looking at their work centers, or are they just trying to slap AI on there and call it a done system? How have you experienced that?
So from my experience being in medical school before, and then and being in pre-med in my university, I have noticed that the traditional pre-medical student and then the traditional doctor in the future, they tend to be very clinical only, thinking that just because they have a high capacity and very high ability in the medical realm, that patients will just walk in and that it's going to be super simple. But as time passes and just in social media and internet culture, there's a lot of times a lot of jokes saying that you're too old now. You have to schedule your own doctor's appointments, your own visits, and that's something at Avendano Health we directly tackled. I made it so all appointments, all payments, all lab scheduling, it's all done in a process of less than 60 seconds to really make it so that the consumer can receive these things. A lot of people don't take care of their health or don't track their diagnostics. So this is something that would definitely help the quality of life of people.
I see. Now, walk me through that. I mean, does it start at your website or does it start as a walk-in or does it start over the phone?
So it can start on the website. You just go in. I made it super simple. So it's very straightforward, very transparent. Something that labs don't usually do is actually give the prices. I made sure that everyone that lands on the website knows what we offer and at what price. There's no hidden fees, just full transparency. And you can also, when you walk in, we do have just signs with QRs to make sure that you can scan in the same way. Super simple, less than 60 seconds. And we don't actually create any appointments via phone, but we do guide patients when they call in just to show them how simple it is.
Yes, there was a channel, the telehealth. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Of course. So when it comes to the telehealth, Avendano Health is proud to say that we actually provide telehealth for the whole nationwide 50 states. And what we offer is GLP-1 weight loss medications, hormone replacement therapy, peptides. We also offer hair loss solutions. We also have sexual health medications. So just general overall wellness and health. And this is actually fully integrated into the website to also be in less than 60 seconds, the first step. And then we continue on to the doctor's consultations to make sure that these medications are for you, correct?
Yeah. No, I mean, you just touched on those rapidly growing areas, sometimes sensitive areas. You're basically covering territory that most traditional clinics are not quite there yet, or it's just a new avenue. Is that a calculated position move, or is it more of following what the patients have asked for?
Very calculated. Before I started Avendano Health, I was working at a compounding pharmacy. So I did notice that there was a very strong demand for these GLP-1 weight loss medications. And with peptides being the new future and hormone replacement therapy gaining popularity, I did notice that not only is this something important, this is something that can be scaled nationwide. And there is demand nationwide. So while it's been calculated, it's been paying off.
Absolutely. And this term, vertical integration, that's being thrown around a lot. What does that actually mean to you in practice? And what does the fully integrated version of Avendano Health look like? And what's the problem that it finally solves?
All right. So when it comes to that vertical integration, what it means to me is Avendano Health started at the most basic medical level. We were a blood collection and specimen center. And then we expanded slowly to actually have our own lab work through a very affordable send out lab partner. And then the nationwide telehealth. In the future, we have ambitions to expand to offer other services like consultations, primary care, things of that nature. And this vertical integration idea is to solve any sort of bottlenecks when it comes to patient communication from point A to point B, so that we can just make sure the patient gets their treatment, gets their consultation, gets their diagnostics as fast as possible, while also staying secure and HIPAA.
Absolutely. You mentioned HIPAA compliance. A lot of clinic owners are kind of building out automations and immediately picture like this. I picture this six-figure IT project, but it doesn't necessarily have to go that way, does it? How did you build a lean, compliant automation that actually looks like a small practice that's just trying to run better? Because it actually is.
So when it comes to that, automations and AI are the future. And in the medical industry, a lot of times professionals shy away from it. They're scared that HIPAA will be broken, or they're scared that it might be too advanced. It's just not something that they're comfortable with. But we can't shy away from the future. We have to embrace it if we want to be competitive and continue to actually expand. So when it comes to this, the automations, I made sure to put HIPAA guardrails to make sure that nothing is being broken. And when it comes to the specific automations and AI, I've actually created 3 agents. One is a website agent that's more of a concierge that works off of conditional thinking, like a conditional thinking tree. Start at the most vague level, asking if you're going to be asking today about the local lab work or the nationwide telehealth, and then splitting into a more specific answer until we get to the exact website page that the patient is looking for. I also recently created an agent that can also do outbound reach to clinics and then also other health facilities. It's actually working, helping us expand our reach locally. And another agent that I've created is one that works on SEO, that works on blogs, and that also increases our organic range to be shown nationwide.
How active are blogs nowadays? Is that still something that people are seeking?
Yes, I personally have the system set up to create 3 blogs a day. And the way it's set up is 1 with the local lab work, 2 the mobile phlebotomy services, and 3 for the nationwide telehealth. That way it hits all the different services that we offer here. And at the same time, more people are aware of it.
I see. Okay. Good. Active connections. Now, if you could hand every new med spa owner or clinic founder one principle about technology before they make their first purchase, what would it be?
I've noticed in life that anything can be overwhelming if you're not familiar with it and you just heard about it, but you have to make sure to keep a level head and continue to explore the possibilities since a lot of times it's actually more simple than you expect. And it's just a matter of perspective.
It's never as hard as you initially think, is it? I mean, you just break it down and yes, absolutely. Technology can actually be a very useful tool. It's not all so overwhelming at first. Just break it up. Now, you're on a mission as far as touching a lot of South Florida, growing in that sector, but you do a lot of partnerships with that. Can you talk a little bit about your current partnerships that you want to, and also kind of getting into the American Cancer Society?
So when it comes to the partnerships at Avendano Health, not only do we offer medical lab work directly, we also partner with companies such as Rupa Health, Ulta Lab Tests, My One Medical Source, which is also known as MOMS. And we work as their actual specimen lab collector. And we have our phlebotomist also connect directly into their network. With all these partners, we actually have upwards of 53 partners total through these different sources. And that includes companies such as Access Labs and the Mayo Clinic and things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know the American Cancer Society, it's not like a marketing play. It's a resource commitment that, I think it sounds like a win-win. What made you decide that the business had enough stability to start giving something back, and how do you think about that balance going forward?
So the American Cancer Society was naturally like one of my biggest options when it comes to partnership. My fraternity in my university was Beta Theta Pi. That's our national philanthropy, and I'm actually a stage 4 melanoma cancer survivor. So it was a natural fit. And with having a diagnostic laboratory, I wanted to partner with them. I'm in talks with them, trying to see what possibilities can happen so that we can offer either discounted or fully subsidized preventative lab work to individuals and survivors to make sure that the community health is strong.
Hmm. Absolutely. I applaud you. There's a version of preventative care that only wealthy, insured people have access to sometimes, and you're definitely trying to change that. Do you think the healthcare industry actually wants that problem solved, or does the current system benefit from the gap existing?
So when it comes to that, I think that there are definitely benefits to the gaps existing, but I did want to touch on the point that what my mission is isn't just to bring the preventative lab work and then just medical care to the people that can't afford it. I want to make sure that everyone, regardless of if you make $1 million, if you make $10,000 a year, gets access to it because regardless of how much income you make, you are still part of the community.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We're still people at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, and at the end of the day, that does save the government a lot of money by making sure we're all healthy.
In the long run, that's absolutely a fact. But I want to go back into more of your origin story and how much of an impact was that from your upbringing and what your parents went through, and did you get a sense of identity that kind of helps this mission, or has the mission started to inform the identity, if you will?
Well, kind of both, to be honest. So when it comes to my background, my origin story, I was born in Colombia in Bogota, and I came to the United States at age 3 in the year 2000 with my family. They've made so many sacrifices. They've done things they need to do when it comes to just working long hours, working hard in order for us to have a better life and keep rising. And that's something that I want to contribute back to not only my current family, like my parents and my sister, but that's something that I want to have moving forward for my future family.
Well, thinking about, say, 10 years from now, if Abendano Health worked exactly the way you're currently imagining it and future changes, what's the patient experience that exists that doesn't exist today?
All right. So I want to make sure that patients do feel 100% welcome and they feel seen, not just like they're a number or not just like they're another sterile object in a sterile environment. And besides that, I want to make sure that there's not much wait in the waiting room and there's not much wait to receive your results, and that service is at an all time high while being all time affordable.
Succinct. Do you see any current changes that need to, I mean, I definitely see some quick wins that you're changing in the industry. How do you communicate those changes to your peers in the industry?
So I do update my LinkedIn and my company LinkedIn a lot to really share the updates and then just to show the direction in which that the company is moving forward. And that has allowed me to connect with a lot of professionals in the industry and then just other business owners to see in what way we can continue to grow forward.
Absolutely. A network often makes changes quicker than just individual practices that don't communicate with each other. Well, what would be your message to the founder sitting in their clinic right now, who knows something needs to change but doesn't know where to start? Where can they find you? Mostly, I mean, other than LinkedIn, I mean, that's, you just mentioned that, but other avenues that are growing that we may not be aware of.
Also, for the other avenues, social medias, we do have an Instagram. We started it recently since we had a bigger presence and it got deleted. And we do also have our Facebook page, and we like to advertise on Nextdoor as well. So it's a very specific local market. And besides that, the best way to reach me would also be through email or via LinkedIn, via direct message.
Okay. Uh,
And I'd like to give a shout out to God. Like, God has been like a very strong motivator for me, and you know, like a very strong support for everything I've gone through.
Amen. Amen. And can you see his hand on on things as you've kind of grown the clinic?
Yes, 100%. I
Absolutely.
consult God for everything. Just make sure. But
Amen. Yeah, that's that's good on you. I like that. As a fellow believer, I like to hear that. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard. Lately it's been kind of hard as far as to see him in certain places, but when you really look back and you can see him, it is encouraging.
no, that's true, and it's like something that you usually don't talk about in the medical industry. So that's something I like to always bring up.
Yeah. No, exactly. He's there, and it's good to reflect and give him glory.
All right. So when it comes to Avendano Health as well, I've also developed a lot of my perspective from my degrees at Florida International University. I was originally in my bachelor's of science in biological sciences, as well as my bachelor's in arts of natural and applied sciences, with my minor in anthropology and sociology. So that did shape more of like the clinical perspective, while also the humanistic perspective of how to treat people. And then in order to be more rounded for a business, I did get my master's in marketing. So I could bring more of my sales and marketing capacity in a refined way to really scale and expand the business.
Yeah, you're like kind of dual wielding with that background, so you can essentially handle the medical side and obviously that very very important. Well, they're very important, both. But to grow the business, you do need the sales and marketing.
So for Avendano Health to also increase efficiency and streamline the experience for patients, we made it so now there's multiple options for checkout. And I know sometimes a patient might not feel comfortable using their credit or debit card, but we also do have access to Apple Pay, which can be very convenient. Google Pay, depending on what device or what browser you use. We also have Amazon Pay and Klarna A lot of times patients will not want to go ahead and get their diagnostics done, but most patients will need it every 3, 6, maybe up to one time a year. So with Klarna, we actually make it affordable and we take out that barrier for patients to see their lab work results. And another great outlet that we use for payments is actually through crypto. So we use Stripe for integration on payments, and Stripe actually allows you to connect a crypto wallet. So we do have a lot of variety when it comes to payment options.
Wow. You guys are definitely forward thinking as far as getting that access to your patients where they have options. So again, I applaud you.
I trying to decentralize the healthcare industry for everyone.
Yeah. Can you take me into your mentality with that as far as decentralization and what advantages do I would say both parties get with that?
So the biggest advantage is for the patient, of course. Now they don't have to wait via an insurance barrier if they don't have it or if it's too expensive. And we actually also have standing orders from our medical director for all lab work. So there are no referrals needed for anyone that walks in, anyone that makes an appointment, anything like that. It's very simple. And while we do have the medical oversight, it takes away a big barrier that prevents a lot of people from getting their lab works done, seeing any diagnostics like that. Sometimes it might not even be necessary to have in the first place, just people might not be aware and think they actually do need that sort of referral from the doc. And more on our side for the help with that is we do get to offer other sources of payment for people, and then we get to really bring in more patients. And another important part that I did want to mention is I'd like to give the credit and honor where it's due. A quick shout out to Allison Greenberg. She's a great phlebotomist. She really makes sure that the business is up and running and everything's smooth. We couldn't be doing this without her.
Yeah, speaking of that, as far as your practice currently in Boca Raton, how many members do you have on the clinic staff?
As of right now, everything is super lean and super automated and super efficient. So we just have one permanent employee, and that would be Allison. But besides that, we do have a few per diems as needed in case anything requires a replacement for the day. But besides that, it's very lean and we just have one actual clinical employee.
Absolutely. And you guys are currently experiencing expansion, correct?
Yes. We offer group of health blood draw services, specimen collections in 5 counties: Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, Martin County, and St. Lucie County. While we also do offer the mobile services in most of Palm Beach and Broward County.
I see. And who handles the mobile services? Is that Allison?
No, we partnered with another company so that way we can streamline it and that there's less of an operational overhead, and that way we can really reach more patients without having to stretch ourselves too thin.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to live in West Palm Beach, and I was thinking about those counties. That's quite a spread, and it's good reach. So it's very interesting to see folks from St. Lucie County heading on down to Boca. But I guess you have a lot of benefit as far as going with Avendano Health. So that makes sense.
So it's as simple as just clicking, and we do get access to similar exams. So let's just go ahead and click this, for example. And it's as simple, really just as this. You fill out the information and you pick. Less than 60 seconds.
Wow, that is fast.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the appointment is booked and it's paid, and boom, they get to meet you. Now, before I let you go, I want to take a step back and reflect. We've covered a lot of ground today: the model, the mission, the partnerships, your community. And looking back, if you were to tell yourself one thing the day you opened the doors at Avendano Health, what would it be?
So I think the number one thing that has stood out to me as I have been building up my business is the words of my old boss. He said that when it comes to opening up a business, ventures like that, the actual trajectory kind of looks like a check mark where when you start, you think you're at the top, you're just going to blow up, but you actually start going down. And then when you think it's the worst, then it's when you start going up. So it's to never lose hope until it happens.
That's good insight. I mean, isn't that how it works? Boy,
Yeah.
when you're in it, oh, it looks so different than your
Yeah.
plans. That's great. Thank you for that. Um, I mean, You've been really transparent today about how everything works, and I really appreciate that. And what's the thing about this business that still surprises you? The thing that you didn't see coming when you originally built the model?
The number one thing that really surprised me is the inbound outreach from just great people in different industries such as yourself. And I just get the message, and I really wasn't expecting it, but it's great to collaborate with great contributors.
Yeah, I mean, you've been great. I really, I've been enjoying meeting you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Um,
it.
Next question. What's the hardest part of building something that you're genuinely trying to do something different in a system that wasn't exactly designed to make that easy?
I think it's maybe just getting people over the hurdle of understanding that it can be done this way, but legally and compliantly.
Yeah, and it's growing, so that's awesome. All right, last question. I really want to take you back and take time on this one. Where do you think Avenado Health is in 5 years?
The way we've been growing is very exponential, especially with the outbound SEO and also the content creation through the use of AI agents. So I think that there will be a lot of vertical integration, and something that I truly am very interested in, especially with the changing laws like within the week, is the psychedelic medicine space. So I'd love to really pioneer that and not just focus on the physical health, more the mental health as well.
Really? Can you take us into that a little bit?
Yes. So I've just been seeing in the changes in laws recently with, for example, many states legalizing mushroom medicine and ibogaine. I do think that Florida will eventually be an adapter, an early contributor to that, a pioneer, and that's something I'd love to have my foot in.
I've heard ibogaine. I've heard that is actually a really positive step in the direction of kind of keying into the almost nonconformity, but just away from the traditional setting and just kind of more into the advanced ways of health. So that's interesting. Good, good. Well, folks, I mean, I just want to let you know what Jacobo is building isn't just a business, it's a proof of concept. That access doesn't have to be a privilege, that transparency isn't a liability. When you remove the gatekeepers, patients actually show up. I think that's the thread that runs through everything we talked about today. And I'm grateful he brought it here first. Jacobo, I want to thank you for being on the Clinic Loop. I have really appreciated our time, and I want to give you the last word. Where can people find you exactly, work with you, and support what you're building?
They can find me on avendanohealth.com and also on LinkedIn under my name, Jacoby Avendano-Jassan. And really just, I appreciate the opportunity, Mike. I really appreciate this. And I hope we continue to stay in touch.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch. It's been great. Thank you.